What is up, fight fans? So Terence Crawford has been stripped of the IBF title. Let's go ahead and talk about it. As you guys can see here from Boxing Social, IBF announces new welterweight champion as Terence Crawford drops out of rankings. So essentially what happens is the IBF rankings came out and Terence Crawford is no longer on there. And because the interim champion was Jerome Boots Ennis, the IBF title will now go to Jerome Boots Ennis, and Terence Crawford is no longer the IBF champion, which means, just like Devin Haney being stripped of the WBC title, he's also no longer undisputed at 147. So what gives? Why was he stripped? My guess, and what many people are probably guessing behind what's going on here, is that he is more than likely not going to fight at 147 in his next fight. This probably means that he will be fighting Errol Spence Jr. at 154 for his next fight. And the reason that that makes sense is because there's no reason for the IBF to strip him for inactivity, because he doesn't even have a year with the IBF title. He literally just won the IBF title. He doesn't have a year with it while defending. He just won the belt. So clearly this is because there's an understanding, there's a communication with the IBF. The IBF probably asked him, is your next fight going to be at 147, yes or no? And he's like, no, my next fight is probably going to be at 154, which would be the fight with Errol Spence. Now, even if that wasn't the case, even if Terence Crawford wasn't going to fight Errol Spence, and that is the reason why he was stripped. Maybe he wanted to fight Canelo and he was stripped or whatever. This basically ensures that there's no roadblocks anymore for the fight between him and Errol Spence, because he wanted to be undisputed against undisputed when he was going to go up to face the winner of Canelo versus Jermell Charlo, which ended up being Canelo. He wanted it to be an undisputed versus undisputed thing. And more than likely, the reason why he was pushing for a 147 fight. Now, since he's no longer undisputed, there's no barrier. He might as well just fight him at 154 if he's going to give the rematch to Errol Spence, which he is going to do. Might as well just do it at 154. That's the only way that you even give the fight any validity anyways, because if you rematch him at 147, no one's gonna buy the fight. People are barely gonna buy the second fight, even if it's at 154. People are not gonna buy it if it's at 147. But now that he's not undisputed, there's no incentive. Drop the belts, go to 154, fight Errol Spence Jr. for the rematch that was agreed upon, and then if by some miracle Canelo wants to fight you, then you could use that as your swan song to end your career. But a lot of speculation going around about Terence Crawford being stripped. My interpretation of this is that he must have been stripped because he gave them the indication that he won't be fighting at 147 anymore. He's probably not fighting at 147 anymore because he's going to do the fight with Errol Spence at 154. He wouldn't be stripped just from inactivity because he only won the title. He just won the title a few months back. So it's not an inactivity thing. The IBF is more strict than all of the other organizations, the other three. They're definitely more strict. However, he still doesn't even have 1 year. So I think that he was asked, will his next fight be, at 147? He said no. They stripped him. He's no longer in the rankings. That's how we know that he's stripped. And of course, the interim champion is Jerome Boots Ennis. Jerome Boots Ennis gets the belt. So I think that's what's happening. So now with this, I have a 90% certainty that the next fight that Crawford has will be against Errol Spence Jr. and will be at a higher weight limit than 147, more likely 154. All right, there you go, guys. That is the news for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because you get boxing news from Boxing Fanatico. And you never know when we're dropping something. Plus, we always go live every week, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. All right, until the next time, guys. Peace.